The great star cruiser Celestial Bloom floated like a glowing city in deep space. Inside, rich humans laughed in their golden halls, while alien servants moved quietly in the shadows. Nara, a young alien made with silver blue skin and long braid-like tendrils, carried her cleaning tray in both hands. She walked quickly down the quiet hall of the upper-class human suites. Her large teal eyes watched everything. Room 27. She whispered to herself. She stopped in front of a dark gray door, with no decoration. No noise came from inside. Most rich human rooms had music or lights, but this one was always quiet. Too quiet. Nara looked at the door. Her hand trembled a little. Another maid, old and hunched, had warned her. "Don't ask questions about that room," she had whispered. "The human inside. He's not like the others. Not like the others." Nara had asked. The old maid just shook her head. "He came on board with a private ticket. No guards, no crew. Stays alone. Never calls for food. Never uses the holotable." And she lowered her voice. "Last month, a security officer. Went in and came out white as snow. Never said a word again." Now, standing at the door, Nara took a deep breath. She pressed the chime button. A soft voice answered. "Come in." The door opened with a smooth HK dot inside. The room was clean, simple. No glowing lights, no music, no shining screens. Just a black table, 2 chairs, and a neatly made bed. The windows showed only stars. A tall human sat at the table, writing, with a real pen on old paper. His name was Eli Cross. He looked up at her. His face was calm, pale, tired eyes. "You're new," he said. Nara nodded. "Yes, sir. I've been assigned to clean your room." He didn't smile. Diaz gave a small nod. "Don't move the trunk." Nara looked. In the corner of the room stood a large black metal trunk, thick, heavy, with strange locks. It gave off a slight hum, like it was alive. She bowed quickly. "Of course, sir." Eli turned back to his writing. Nara moved quietly, dusting shelves, checking under the table, cleaning the bathroom. All the time she felt his eyes watching her, or maybe not his eyes, but the trunk's presence. She finished fast. As she picked up her tray, her gaze passed the trash chute. Something inside caught her eye. Crumbled papers. But not just any papers. Alien writing. She blinked. The soft, curling symbols were from her own planet Nethera, a language not taught. To humans, Nara looked at Eli, still writing. He didn't see her. She stepped closer. Just one paper. Just one peek. The paper said, "Keep her asleep. They must never find her. Not yet." Her heart skipped a beat. She quickly closed the chute and stepped back. "Is something wrong?" Eli's voice was calm but sharp. She turned quickly. "No, sir. All done, sir." He nodded slowly. "You may go." Nara hurried out, her mind spinning. In the workers' hall that night, Nara sat with her food untouched. Her friend, a young, orange-skinned alien boy named Rill, nudged her. "What happened? You look like you saw a space ghost?" "Room 27. She whispered. He leaned in. "What did you see?" "I don't know, but something is wrong in there." He had Nithrin writing. "In the trash. And there's a black trunk he told me not to touch." Rill looked nervous. "Don't get involved, Nara. You're just a maid. If something happens, the humans won't protect you." "I know," she said softly. "But what if someone is in that trunk?" "Oh, yeah." That night, in her sleeping pod, Nara couldn't rest. She kept thinking of the message. Keep her asleep. They must never find her. She remembered the way the trunk hummed, like a heartbeat. The next morning, when she returned to room 27, Eli was gone. The room was empty, and the trunk was glowing faintly. She looked around, no one in the hall. No cameras nearby. Her hand reached out slowly. She touched the trunk's surface. Warm, soft, almost like skin. Suddenly she heard something from inside, a faint sound. A breath. Nara jumped back, her heart pounding. She didn't open the trunk. Not yet, but she knew now something or someone was inside. And the silent human named Eli Cross was not who he seemed. The next day, Nara walked slower than usual. Her hands held the cleaning tray, but her mind was full of questions. Every step toward room 27 felt heavier than the last. She kept hearing that soft breath from the trunk. Kept seeing the alien writing in the trash. She kept remembering Eli's eyes, too calm, too quiet in the staff hallway. She passed old Maid Lhasa again. The wrinkled alien woman stared at her and hissed, "You went in that room again." Nara nodded slowly. "Yes, it's my job." Lhasa grabbed her wrist. "You touched the trunk, didn't you?" Nara didn't answer. Her silence said enough. Lhasa's eyes widened. "Foolish girl. You don't understand. He's hiding something. And whatever it is, if the humans find out, Chul be blamed." "I think someone is inside," Nara whispered. "A child, maybe sick, maybe in danger." "You're just a maid," Lhasa snapped. "You're not a soldier. You're not a hero. You're dust in their eyes. Don't try to play with fire." Nara pulled her hand away and walked off without looking back. When she entered room 27 again, Eli was not writing this time. He was sitting still in the dark, the lights dimmed. He looked up slowly as the door closed behind her. "I told you not to touch the trunk," he said. Nara froze. "I didn't open it," she said. I heard something." He stood up. His shadow stretched across the floor. For a moment, Nara thought he might yell or call security. Or worse, but Eli just stared at her with tired eyes. Then he turned and walked toward the window. "I've had 12 maids before you," he said. 12, Nara stayed quiet. 8 quit. 3 were reassigned. 1 got too curious. "What happened to her?" Nara asked. "She forgot how to sleep without fear," he said softly. "She saw something she couldn't forget." He looked at Nara again. "Will you be number 13? Nara took a slow breath. "Why is the trunk warm? Why does it hum?" Eli didn't answer. She stepped closer. "I read the paper in your trash. It said, keep her asleep. Who is she? Still?" He said nothing. Finally, Nara asked, "Is she your prisoner?" That made him turn sharply. His voice was low, almost a growl. "No." "Then what is she to you?" He looked at the trunk. A promise. That night, Nara sat in her sleeping pod, thinking. Her cleaning schedule showed that Eli would be out the next morning for 3 hours, some kind of personal medical checkup. She would be alone in the room. Her thoughts spun faster than a solar turbine. If there really was someone in that trunk, someone asleep or trapped, shouldn't she try to help? She stared at the ceiling of her tiny bunk and whispered to herself, "What if I'm the only one who cares?" The next day came fast. Eli was gone, and room 27 was empty. Nara entered slowly. The room was colder than usual, quiet as a tomb. The trunk sat there still, glowing faintly. Its hum made her skin feel strange. It's not pain, but pressure, like something behind a wall, trying to speak. She set down her tray, walked to the trunk, and knelt beside it. Her hands shook as she reached for the side panel. She had seen the lock pattern yesterday. It was old manual, not digital. Rare on human ships. Strange for someone like Eli. She pressed the first symbol, then the second, then the third. Click. The trunk hissed open. Just a crack. She leaned closer. Warm air flowed out. It smelled like sweet flowers and metal. She opened the lid. Fully inside was a clear stasis pod, half full of glowing blue liquid. And inside that was a small figure curled up, sleeping. A girl, alien but young. Barely older than 10, by Nara's guess. Her skin was soft white, glowing faintly under the liquid. She had long, floating hair like moonlight, and faint golden markings on her forehead. She looked peaceful, but strange machines were attached to her arms and chest. One blinked red. Another slowly pulsed with green lights. A soft heartbeat monitor beeped in the corner. Nara's hand covered her mouth. She's real. Suddenly, behind her the door opened. She jumped. But it wasn't Eli. It was another maid, Silka. The gossiping one with yellow eyes and fast fingers. Silka stared at the open trunk. Her eyes widened. What, in all stars, is that? Nara stepped in front of the trunk. You saw nothing. Silka grinned. Oh, I saw everything. And I know what the captain will pay for this. A human hiding a stasis band species? Oh, I'll be rich. Silka, please. But Silka was already running down the hall. Laughing, Nara looked back at the sleeping child. Then at the door. Eli's words echoed in her mind. She's a promise. Now someone was going to break that promise, and Nara couldn't let that happen. Silka's footsteps echoed down the hallway, faster than Nara could follow. The door to room 27 slowly slid shut behind her, leaving Nara alone again with the open trunk. But this time, she felt no fear, just fire. She stared down at the sleeping girl in the pod. The alien child floated silently in the blue stasis fluid. Small hands curled near her face. Her expression looked peaceful. But her body was covered in faint bruises. Faded scars. Monitors beeped slowly. One wire sparked weakly near her shoulder. Nara whispered, "Who hurt you?" The little girl didn't answer, but Nara's heart tightened. She grabbed her cleaning tray and moved to the door. She had to find Eli. She had to warn him. Eli wasn't at the medical deck. Not at the upper lounge. Not in the cafeteria. She finally found him in the observation dome, standing alone under the stars. His hands were in his coat pockets. His shoulders looked heavier than yesterday. Eli. She called. He didn't turn. She ran to him, breathing fast. She's real. The girl in the trunk. You didn't lie. He nodded, slowly. I never did. I opened it, she admitted. I saw her, and someone else saw her too. Silka, she's going to tell the captain. Eli closed his eyes. She. Sell the secret, Nara added. She thinks she can get rich. Eli finally turned to face her. His voice was calm, but cold. Then we don't have much time. They returned to the room together. Eli locked the door behind them. Nara stayed near the trunk while he knelt beside it. His hands moved across the control panel quickly, typing codes only he seemed to know. Who is she? Nara asked softly. You said she's a promise. What does that mean? Eli didn't look up. Her name is Leora. She's from a species called the Ishari. Nara blinked. Ishari. But they're extinct. That's what the history records say. Eli's hands paused. That's what the winners of the war said, he whispered. But it was a lie. I know, because I was there. He looked up at her now. His eyes were full of pain. I was a soldier for the Terran elite, he said. 10 years ago, they sent us to wipe out the last Ishari colony. Said it was a security threat. Said it was full of weapons. He looked back at Leora, still sleeping in the pod. It wasn't. Nara listened quietly, her hands slowly curling into fists. It was full of children, Eli said. Mothers, elders, no soldiers. Just people. He swallowed hard. My team followed orders. We bombed their water source. Then their food lines. then the shelters. Nara felt cold all over. But I couldn't finish it, Eli continued. I found Leora hiding in a hollow tree. She was covered in ash. She couldn't speak. She just looked at me. Like she already knew I was supposed to kill her. His voice broke a little. I didn't. I took her. I ran. Nara sat down slowly, trying to understand. You've been hiding her ever since? She asked. Yes, Eli said, jumping from one ship to another, always pretending, always watching the door. Why not tell someone? Why not show the truth? Eli laughed bitterly. You think the galaxy wants the truth? A buried the Ishari genocide for a reason. If I speak, they'll call me a traitor. A war criminal? He looked at Leora again. But I don't care anymore. I just want her to live. I want her to wake up one day in a place where no one tries to hurt her. Nara stood up. Then we need to move her, she said. Silka is already telling the captain. They'll search this room soon. Eli nodded. I can reprogram the pod to run on portable energy. But we need a way to sneak her off the ship. I can help, Nara said. I know the service tunnels. I can distract the guards. You'd risk everything, Akila asked. She looked him in the eyes. She's a child, Nara said. And no child should be treated like cargo. Eli smiled faintly. You're braver than most soldiers I knew. As Eli worked on detaching the pod stabilizers, Nara helped gather a small carry harness and insulated blankets. The hum of the pod changed higher now, more alert. The lights around Leora's chest began to glow a little brighter. She's waking up, Eli whispered. Slowly, the fluid keeps her mind at peace, but soon she opened her eyes. Nara leaned close. She's beautiful, she said softly. She's rare, Eli added. But not because of what she is, because she still trusts. Then an alarm blared. Red lights flashed outside the room. A robotic voice echoed in the hallway. Security lockdown initiated. Room 27. All staff clear the area. Nara looked. At Eli, they're here, she whispered. Eli grabbed the pod's handles. Then we leave now. Nara opened the maintenance panel near the floor. A narrow tunnel led into the ship's vents, small, cramped. But it would be their only chance. Let's go, she said. They disappeared into the tunnel, just as the door behind them exploded open. Asterisk, the air inside the service tunnel was tight and full of dust. Nara crawled first, her hands gripping the cold metal, her heart racing fast. Behind her, Eli carefully pushed the floating stasis pod that held the sleeping alien child. Leora. The soft glow of the pod lit their faces as they moved deeper into the darkness of the ship above them. Boots ran down the hall. The security team had arrived. They'll search everything, Nara whispered, including the floors. Eli nodded. We have 10 minutes, maybe less. They turned left, then right, following the maze of vents and crawl spaces that only the cleaning staff used. These passages were never shown on the public maps. Only maids, janitors, and engineers knew them. Nara paused at a corner, checking the way ahead. It was clear for now. Eli caught up, his arms trembling, not from fear, but pain. His coat had slipped, revealing the long, burned scars across his shoulders and arms. Nara had seen them before, but never asked. Now she did. What happened to you? Eli didn't answer at first. Then he said, punishment. Punishment. For disobeying a kill order, he said quietly. Years ago, he adjusted the pod's position and continued crawling. Nara followed. They burned you for not killing. They wanted to make an example of me, so others wouldn't hesitate. She felt cold inside, and the others. They watched, they laughed. He said, my own squad, even the captain, said, I was soft, said the Ashari girl. Would grow up to kill humans. He stopped for a moment, catching his breath. But when I looked into her eyes, I didn't see a killer. I saw someone who had lost everything, and I knew I couldn't follow those orders anymore. They reached a small maintenance room under the cargo bay. It was used to store spare parts and broken drones. Most staff ignored it. Nara closed the vent behind them and helped Eli lift the pod into a small corner behind stacked crates. Eli slumped against the wall, breathing hard. Nara handed him a water pack from her belt. You shouldn't carry everything. Yourself. He gave her a small smile. Old habits. When I was a soldier, we learned not to rely on anyone. Do you still think like that? She asked. He looked at her. Until today, yes. Above them, the ship's comes buzzed. Attention crew. This is Captain Velen. All lower sections are under active search. A biosignature was detected in an unauthorized area. This may involve illegal life transport. Anyone found hiding information will be punished as a traitor. Eli closed his eyes. They already labeled her as cargo, not even a person. Nara sat beside him, wiping dust from her hands. She is a person, she said. I saw her. She looks like a sleeping star. She is more than that, Eli said. He opened a pouch on his belt and pulled out a folded photo. He handed it to Nara. It was old, wrinkled. A snapshot of a small Ishari girl, younger than Leora, holding Eli's finger while smiling shyly. Behind, her buildings burned in the distance. She trusted me, Eli said. Even when I wore armor and carried a gun. Even when I was part of the army that killed her people. Nara looked at the photo again. She saw your heart, not your uniform. They sat in silence for a while. The pod blinked slowly, showing Leora's stable heartbeat. Her fingers twitched inside the fluid. A sign. She was waking soon. Nara leaned forward and touched the glass softly. Will she remember? She might, Eli said. Trauma can sleep, but it never dies. When she wakes, she might cry, or scream, or forget everything. Will she be safe? Nara asked. Eli didn't answer. He looked at the wall, then stood. There's one last option, he said. A man I used to know. He works in cargo transport, hides people, smuggles secrets. If we reach him, he can take Leora to a hidden moon where no one will look for her. Where is he? T. Looked up. Deck 9. Storage sector G. Eyes widened. That's on the other side of the ship. Dozens of guards are out there now. Then we go, he said. We take her, and we run. Just as Eli grabbed the pod's handle, Nara stopped him. One question, she said. He looked back. Why didn't you leave her? Why risk everything? Your life, your name, your freedom for someone not even human. Eli gave her a long look. Because? Once someone saved me, I was a broken soldier. I had nothing but guilt. But that little girl Leora looked at me like I was worth saving. He smiled sadly. So I became the man she believed I was. Outside, boots marched past. Lights flashed under the door. Eli reached for his old blaster, hidden in a crate. Nara handed him a cloak from a broken droid. They lifted the pod together, covered it with sheets, and opened the door to the next corridor. The chase had truly begun, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The lights in the corridor flickered. Nara peeked out from behind the stack of crates. Her sharp teal eyes scanned left, then right. Nothing but silence and dim red lights. The ship had entered emergency lockdown mode. That meant tighter patrols. Closed gates and cameras watching every hallway. She turned to Eli. We can't take the main path. Too many cameras. Eli nodded, adjusting the cloaked pod floating beside him. Leora slept inside, still hidden. Her stasis pod hummed softly. Like a sleeping breath, I know another way, Nara whispered. But it's dangerous. Old maintenance shaft, never used. Sometimes collapses. Eli didn't hesitate. We'll take it. Nara led the way, ducking through a side door and slipping into the dimly lit utility passage. Metal walls closed, in tight around them, and old pipes dripped with condensation. As they moved, Eli asked, "Why are you helping me, Nara?" She didn't answer at first. Then she said softly, "Because I was almost like her." Eli looked at her, surprised. "I was born on a farm colony," Nara said. "When pirates raided it, my parents died. Was only 6. They took me and sold me to a mining company. Years later, humans bought the company. The workers changed, the rules changed. But nobody ever asked my name." She touched the stasis pod gently. "Until now," she added. "Now I see her face. And I think, what if no one helps her? What if everyone just looks away, like they did with me?" Eli was quiet. Then he said, "You saved her already." "No," Nara said. "Not yet." They reached the old shaft. A rusted hatch stood in. Their way sealed shut with a broken keypad. Nara crouched and pulled a multi-tool from her waist. "Give me 60 seconds. As she worked, Eli kept watch. He held his old blaster tight, eyes scanning every sound. His soldier instincts never slept. Suddenly dash click. The hatch opened with a groan. Nara grinned. Still got it. They moved. Inside, the tunnel was narrow. Only enough space for one person and the pod. It sloped upward, then curved hard left. Dust rose with every step. Halfway through, a voice echoed behind them. "Stop right there." They turned. Silka, the gossiping Maid. But now she wore a ship officer's bajand, carried a stun baton. Nara stepped in front of the pod. "Don't do this, Silka." Silka smirked. "You think I won't? The captain already knows. I just have to delay you." "Why?" Nara asked. "Why betray a child?" Silka's smile faded. "'Cause I've been a maid for 10 years. Always cleaning, always silent. But now I can rise. The captain promised me a transfer, maybe even a supervisor role. I'll never scrub toilets again." She raised the baton, but Eli stepped forward and aimed his blaster. "I've killed better people than you," he said flatly. "Walk away," Silka laughed. "You won't shoot, you're soft. You proved that when you ran with the girl." Eli fired. The bolt missed hand purpose and hit the wall beside Silka's head. Sparks flew. Silka screamed and dropped the baton. Eli stepped forward, eyes burning. "Next one won't miss." Silka ran. Breathing hard, Nara and Eli pushed on. They reached a side door near Deck 9. It opened into a dark, loading bay silent, empty, with only crates and shadows. In the far corner, a man in a long coat waited. Cargo runner Dal. Eli walked up slowly, still in business. Dal grinned. "Only when the cargo is interesting." Eli motioned to the pod. "Can you get her off this ship?" Dal raised an eyebrow. "That's a high-level stasis unit, not cheap to transport." "Money's not the problem," Eli said. "Time is." Dal walked over to the pod, eyes wide. He looked through the glass and froze. Is that an Ishari child?" Nara stepped forward. "She's the last." Dal turned to Eli. "You're crazy. You'll be hunted for this." "I already am," Eli replied. "So help me. Now, please." Dal sighed, then nodded. "There's a cargo drop at the next docking ring. I can get her out in a crate with medical seals. No scan will catch it." Eli turned to Nara. "She's almost safe now," he said. Nara looked down at Leora. Her fingers twitched again. Her heartbeat beeped stronger. She was waking. She needs someone, Nara whispered. Someone who can explain things. Calm. Her. I'll go, Eli said. But Dal shook his head. Too risky. You're flagged now. If you leave with her, they'll track both of you. Eli stared at the pod. Then at Nara. You go, he said. Take her. What? Kea blinked. Me? She trusts you. Eli said, and I trust you. But I'm just a maid. She whispered. Eli smiled. No, you're the only one who made the right choice. Nara looked at the girl, then back at Eli. I'll protect her, she said at last. He nodded, and just like that, the choice was made. Nara stood beside the sleeping pod, her hands trembling as she fastened the cargo straps. Leora, the small Ishari girl, floated calmly inside the blue stasis fluid. But the pod was growing warmer. Her vitals were changing. She's waking, Dal said quietly. We don't have much time. Nara looked at Eli. His face was calm, but his fists were clenched. He stared at the girl like he was memorizing her. Dal tapped a datapad and opened a large metal crate. Here, medical seal is active. I programmed the ID tags to register her as fragile healing equipment. She'll go out in the next shipment. No scans, no questions. Eli nodded. What about guards? There'll be 2 at the docking ring, Dal said. Routine check. I'll distract them. I can't just let her go without me, Eli muttered. You have to, Nara said. Gently, they'll stop searching for her. They still think she's with you. Eli turned to her. Can you do this, Nara? She wakes up scared, she may panic. She's not a normal child. I know, Nara said softly. But I wasn't a normal child either. I'll stay calm. I'll speak to her. Did you hear the truth? Eli handed her a folded cloth. This was hers. When I first found her, give it back to her when she wakes up. Nara took it. The cloth was worn, but soft. It had a symbol stitched in golden threaded Ishari family mark. Her heart squeezed. Okay, she whispered. Let's move. The plan was simple. Dal would push the crate through docking ring C under routine inspection. Nara would hide inside a maintenance suit, pretending to be part of the cleaning crew. Once Leora was loaded onto Dal's ship, Nara would sneak in through the side hatch. They would leave the cruiser together. Eli would stay behind to mislead security. Inside the crate, the pod was tight. Nara climbed in beside it, pulling down the lid with shaking hands. It was dark. Hot. The pod pulsed slowly. Then a sound. A soft breath. A cough. Nara turned. Leora's eyes fluttered open, golden and glassy. Glowing in the dark, the Ishari girl blinked, confused. Her mouth didn't move. She was still underwater in the fluid. But her eyes locked onto Nara. Nara whispered, You're safe now. Leora stared. Then panicked. The fluid bubbled. Her hands slapped against the glass. Monitors beeped louder. No dash, wait dash, Shiits. Okay, Nara said, placing her hands on the pod's side. But Leora's breathing raced. She kicked, struggling to move. Her small fists glowed faintly. She has powers, Nara whispered. Psionic. The girl's power spiked him. The pod's systems shorted for a moment. A warning flashed red. Don't do this, Nara said, voice calm. Listen to me. You're not in danger. My name is Nara. Eli sent me. Do you remember him? T. The girl paused at the sound of Eli's name. Her hands stopped moving. Nara smiled softly. Yes, him. He told me about you. He said you were strong, brave. He saved you. Now I'm going to finish what he started. Leora stared at her. The glow faded from her hands. The pod beeped back to normal. Then she placed her palm gently against the glass. Nara placed her hand against it. In that moment, the girl understood. She wasn't alone anymore. Meanwhile, Eli stood in the hallway outside docking ring. He watched Dal push the crate toward the cargo ramp. 2 security guards stood ahead, holding scanners. One looked. Up. Halt. What's in the crate? Dal smiled. Medical parts, cooling tanks, and neural gel units. Priority delivery, scan it. Dal hesitated. It's fragile. The scanner could destabilize the gel. The second guard narrowed her eyes. Orders are orders, Daz. Lifted the scanner, Eli stepped forward. Excuse me, he said. The guards turned. Their eyes widened. You, one growled. Room 27. I surrender, Eli said. Raising his hands, the guards rushed forward, leaving the crate. Dal didn't. Waste time. He pushed it quickly down the ramp. Inside the crate, Nara felt the movement. She held onto the pod tightly above. She heard shouting, then scream, then silence, and then the ship's loading doors sealed behind them. Dal's smuggling ship was small and rusty, but it flew fast. As soon as they launched, Nara opened the crate fully. Leora's pod clicked and released the pressure. A gentle mist rose. Leora blinked, eyes fully open now. She sat up slowly, still wet and shaking. Nara wrapped the old cloth around her shoulders. The girl stared at her. I'm Nara, she said softly. Leora didn't speak, but she touched Nara's face gently. A spark of light danced between them. I'll protect you, Nara whispered. I promise. Back on the cruiser, Eli sat cuffed in a cold room, bruised, bleeding. The captain stood before him. You've broken 10 galactic laws. She hissed. I'd break more, Eli said, smiling faintly. Where is the girl? Eli leaned back. Gone. Captain frowned. Where? You'll never find her. His eyes burned with quiet pride. The stars moved slowly past the windows of the smuggler ship. Nara sat beside Leora, gently drying the young girl's silver hair. The stasis fluid had finally cleared from her lungs, and her skin, soft, pale, and glowing, no longer shivered with cold. Wrapped in her old Ishari cloth, Leora looked like a tiny moon wrapped in twilight. She hadn't spoken yet, but her golden eyes watched everything. And when she looked at Nara, it wasn't with fear, it was with trust. Dal entered the cabin. His coat was stained with oil, and his boots thudded softly on the metal floor. We'll reach the hidden moon in 4 hours, he said. It's not much, no cities, just an abandoned outpost and a warm cave network. Nara nodded. That's all we need, just safety. Dal leaned against the wall. You could still run, hide forever. Pretend none of this happened. Nara smiled sadly. I tried that once. It didn't work. He raised an eyebrow. You sure you want to raise a child the whole galaxy wants to forget? Nair looked down at Eli Ora. The girl gently took her hand. I'm sure. On the cruiser, Eli sat alone in a dark cell. His arms were chained, his back bleeding where the guards had beaten him. But he didn't scream. He didn't beg. He only smiled. He remembered the last thing he saw. Leora's eyes glowing inside the crate as she stared up at him. As if she already understood that this was goodbye, Eli whispered, Live well, little star. Then closed his eyes. 4 hours later, Dal's ship landed on a quiet, misty moon. The place was almost forgotten, half covered in forest, half buried in ash. Strange bird-like creatures chirped above the trees. A warm wind blew across the rocks. They walked into a small cave system where thermal vents heated the air. Nara set up a small shelter using old equipment and blankets from the ship. Leora sat beside her, watching her every move. After a while, the girl finally spoke soft, like a whisper from deep space. Eli, Nara paused. Her chest tightened. He's safe, she lied gently. He's far away now. He saved you. Leora looked down, then said, he cried. Nara blinked. You saw him? The girl nodded. In the stasis, I dreamed. I felt him near. She touched her chest. He gave me his sadness, his love, his promise. Nara pulled her into a hug. You're free now, she whispered. You can be anything you want. Days passed. Nara taught Leora how to boil water, how to make soup, how to build a fire. She found an old music player in Dow's junk and showed the girl how to play alien lullabies. They watched the stars every night. One evening, Leora asked, why do people hate us? Nara looked up at the night sky. Because people fear what they don't understand. But you're not like them. No, Nara said. But I used to be afraid too. Afraid to speak. Afraid to feel. What changed you? You did. 1 month later, a strange ship appeared on the moon's edge. Not military. Not from the cruiser. Nara stood outside the cave, her hand on her tool belt. She was ready to run. Or fight. But instead, the ship landed slowly, and out stepped a woman with copper skin and green eyes. She wore no weapon, just a white robe. I'm from the Sanctuary Network, she said. We help those lost in war. Someone sent us coordinates. Nara stepped forward. Who? The woman handed her a small metal disc. Eli's voice played from it. If you're hearing this, it means she made it. My name is Eli Cross. I was a soldier. I broke the law. I saved a child the galaxy wanted dead. I don't regret it. If you believe in truth, protect her. She's the last light. The message ended. Nara felt tears fall. The sanctuary woman bent down to Leora. You're safe now. Would you like to come with us? Leora looked at Nara. Nara gave her a soft nod. You choose, little star. Leora walked forward slowly and hugged Nara tight, then whispered, only if she comes too. Years later, in a floating garden, school orbiting a peaceful planet, a young girl stood before a class of mixed species, humans, aliens, hybrids. She held up a drawing. This, she said, is the man who saved me. The picture was simple. A tall human man in a coat, holding a glowing star in his hand. The children asked, was he a hero? The girl, now a teenager, smiled. Double quotes, no, he was better than that. They asked, what did he do? She looked out the window toward the stars. He made a choice, she said. When everyone else stayed silent, he chose to care. Back on the cruiser, deep in the prison decks, Eli lay still in a dark cell, his eyes closed, his body tired, but a small smile was on his lips, because far away, across the stars, a child he once saved was learning how to live, and that was enough.